What up, LK Mafia? It's your boy Artofkickz, and just like that, we back with another one. Alright, you guys. So, first off, to my Americans, let me say happy Thanksgiving to you all. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of Thanksgiving. It's not my thing. Even though I've celebrated it every year, I just kind of recently decided that it's not for me anymore. Considering the backstory maybe, but anyway. None of that matters. We about to just keep it positive in this video. Psych, because we got a Karen story to tell. And ain't nothing positive about Karen stories. Not really. But anyway, so I know I've been telling you guys for months and months and months that I was going to give you guys this story. And I got a bunch of content to knock out before I head down to some friend's house to celebrate Thanksgiving with them. I know what I just said, and I'm still holding to that. But I'm more so about the good vibes and good energy and hanging around good people. That's what matters the most to me. And if it takes Thanksgiving to bring us together for that, then so be it. Then happy Thanksgiving. I'm gonna enjoy today. Go eat some good food too. But anyway, so we're about to get into this Karen story, y'all. This story happened probably maybe 13, 14 years ago. I know I was like 19 years old and I was working at Office Depot at that time. And I was like the rising star of that place. When I say rising star, like I was being molded. I was super young, super impressionable. So I was just ready. I was ready to go out there into the work field, to the workplace, and just tackle it full speed ahead, learn as much as I possibly could, and grow within that amazing business, amazing establishment, amazing industry. I just thought it was like a really good place to work, and I learned so much. And I got to give you guys a little backstory before I get into the whole Karen thing, because it's just gonna bring the story together that much more. Now, when I started working there, like I said, I was around 19 years old. The economy was crap at that time. It was so hard for me to find a job, but I found that job. This dude that hired me on, his name was Chester. He was this older cat. He was like 60 years old, but he kept himself up. He looked really good for his age. I remember he drove this really nice white BMW, and he also had a Corvette too. So I really admired, I really looked up to this guy. He was a part of management and he worked in the tech department, so he was over tech. So, which is cool, he's an older guy, but he was still up to date on the new technology and stuff. So he was in the tech department. I got hired on as a simple stock boy. I was stocking, the shelves and all this type of stuff. And then over the next course of a year, I gradually, got a different or better position within that industry. Then I got promoted to a position to where I was over the furniture department of the store. Mind you, we're in Buckhead, so it was a lot of celebrities in and out of that place. There was even at one point when Akon, the artist, when he first brought his office here to Atlanta, I helped him and his team out with getting furniture for the office, and that was pretty cool. That was a cool experience, and they hooked me up with some dope merchandise and stuff, which I still have. I still have some of that Akon merchandise. But anyway, on to this Karen. So in working there, over the time, we had, maybe in the course of a year, there was members of management that would go in and out, and it was always the manager of the store, whoever was in the highest position of that store. And so we'll have a member of management there, and they would come and go every few months. So it was almost like they treated that location as the stomping ground for management. Like, if you can do well here, we will send you off somewhere else. So I was there. I got to witness over the course of a year about 4 or 5 different managers come and go until the last one. And this one was a Karen. Mind you, not only did she fit the look, but she also had the attitude. So she was short, she had the short hair, she was a lesbian, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. No, nothing at all. But a lot of times when women come into the position of a role where they have to show some level of dominance, they kind of abuse it. Not to say all women do that, but a good majority of women, from my experience working underneath women, abuse the position that they're in, and it's like they're trying to prove that they can go toe to toe with the men. And that's something that this woman in particular most certainly did, day in and day out. She literally made my life there a living HE double hockey stick. I was like, bruh, I used to love coming to work. Now I hate this. And that's how everyone that worked underneath her felt. Every last one of us felt that way all the freaking time. I'm like, are you serious? This is what we have to deal with now. This lady. But she had her up and down. It was almost like she was like she had split personality. She would go from being super sweet, super kind to just a living HE double hockey stick, a living hell. Like, it was crazy. So I'm trying not to curse, you know. I know I got some family that's gonna be watching this stuff too, so I'm just trying to keep it PG. So that's why I'm spelling out the words instead of saying them. But anyway, so check it out. This is what this woman did. Oh no, you can't do this. This is like Joe Rogan's podcast. You can't have no messages and stuff coming through on the phone. But yeah, so this woman fired me. I'm jumping onto it. I'm jumping right into it. This woman fired me from this job. Mind you, I was in the position to where I was about to become one of the youngest members of management in the entire history of that company. And I was literally months away. It was on the tips of my fingers. And this woman got hired on to be the manager of the store. Excuse me. So Chester was breeding me. That dude was my first role model. I always look back, even to this day, to some of the life lessons that I have learned from that man. And I will be getting into a whole other story about some of the stuff that I learned from him and how important it is to have role models on the second channel. So be on the lookout for that. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you go check that out. A Different Perspective is what it's called. I will have it linked down in the description box and the comment section down below. So back to the story. So she got hired on to be a member of management. They told her that I was about to be a front-end manager, which is basically the person that, you know, runs the operation for the front of the store, handles customers, handles situations, issues, what have you. I'm over the cashiers, I'm over the print department, all that type of stuff. That was gonna be my role. At that time, there was one thing that was kind of holding me back. And it was that I was a very submissive type of person. I didn't have that management trait yet. The qualities of a manager where someone is like an authoritarian, someone who is capable of putting people in order and telling people what to do and what not to do. I didn't have that trait within me yet. So that was something that I was working on. Now, this woman, I don't know, at the time it seemed like maybe she was testing me to see, you know, if I really had the management qualities. And when she found out that I was trying to become a member of management, it was like she was testing me. It was the weirdest thing because it didn't seem genuine. It almost seemed as though she didn't want it to happen, which was so like messed up. Like, who are you? You just got hired to work here and you're coming in here where we already have things going A1, like we have a great operation going here, and you want to come in here and disrupt stuff. Like, who do you think you are? Like, I was so irritated by this woman. But like Chester would always tell me, he would say, put your head down and say, yes sir, yes ma'am, every time. Don't ever give back mouth when it comes to members of management, because they know what they're talking about, they know what they're doing. So that's what I did. I would just keep all my thoughts to myself, and I would never say anything. I would just, whatever she wanted, whatever she said, yes ma'am, that's just what it was. But you get to a point where that's just not gonna be enough. That's not acceptable anymore. You don't want to just be completely submissive to someone all the time and never have anything to say back to them, you know. So it got to the point where over time it just progressively just got more unnecessary and worse. So over time, it just got to the point where she just kept on nagging at me about little stuff that just was, to me, it was unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. It was literally like she was testing me. But at the same time, I could tell she didn't want me to be on the management team. She didn't want me up there with her. You know what I'm saying? So it was unfair the way I was being treated. And even the other staff, my other coworkers, they felt the same way. Now, some of you guys might thinking, well, you should be taking blame. You should be, yes, there's some stuff that I will take blame for, most certainly. But when I tell you this part of the story, for how I got fired and the reasons why she fired me, you're gonna feel like she's really unreasonable. I promise you that. I promise you that. So the way it worked at Office Depot, and I don't even know if I should be saying the name of this company. I love you guys, by the way. Still shop there. Still love you guys. I tried to get my job back, but that didn't work. See, the way it works working in their retail store is you have to get 3 strikes before you're out. It's kind of like baseball. They give you 1 write-up, 2 write-up, 3 write-ups, and after the 3rd write-up, if they feel that they need to take further action, then you're just out of there. Now, the other way you can get fired by them is somebody comes down from corporate and they terminate you right there on the spot. You don't want that to happen. I remember when I worked there, there had been several times, because we had some interesting employees. We had some very interesting employees, some that stole, some that did this and that, and the fourth. But there would always be, it was like a Men in Black type of thing too. There would be this one guy, it was always the same guy. He would come down from corporate. You would see him walk into the building. He had like a suitcase or whatever. He would just walk right into the building, don't say anything to anyone. He would just go to the back office, the manager's office. He'll be in there a little while, and then he comes out. Next thing you know, somebody on the floor is fired. It was the craziest thing. Like, sometimes they would call that person back there to the office too. Well, not sometimes, always. That person would always go back there too, but they would never work another day there. It was the coolest thing to see and the scariest at the same time, because you didn't know who they were there for unless you knew. You know, so I remember Chester would tell me, he was like, yo, whenever you see that guy come in here, it's never a good thing. I was like, yo, this is so cool. But anyway, so that didn't happen to me, luckily. I just had this Karen. Oh, she was such a Karen. I just had this Karen that I had to deal with. So she wrote me up one time, right? She wrote me up one time. Mind you, I had never had a write-up in my life. Working there, I had never received a write-up. And it's crazy. Her first month working there, she gives me a write-up. My first month working there, I had became employee of the month. My very first month working there, I was such a hard worker, I became employee of the month. Mind you, I kept that energy all the way through. That's how come I was able to rise so quickly with my roles working there. I had got 3 or 4 different roles before I was becoming member of management. Ow, I just hurt myself. And that was only after 1 year working there. So, gosh, I feel bad. I feel bad for the little young me, because I was so lost after I lost that job. But anyway, so she wrote me up, and guess what she wrote me up for? She wrote me up for my shoes. The first write-up was for my shoes. She didn't like the shoes that I was wearing. Mind you, I wore the exact same uniform every single day I worked there. I would just clean the exact same uniform over and over and over. 2 or 3 times a week I would clean that uniform. But it was the same pants, the same shoes, the same shirt every single day. And no other member of management, not even the corporate, when they came down, no one saw any problem with what I wore. It was the same colors that everyone else was wearing. It might have just been a slightly different material, what have you. But she wrote me up for my shoes, and you were supposed to wear like plain black tennis shoes, and my shoes were plain black. They just had, and I'll show you. Down here at the bottom, they had this one little strip of blue going all the way around the sole. I remember there were a pair of Element shoes too, skateboard Element shoes, but they were like leather and they were just all black. So I was like, okay, I'm good on this. I wore my black pants and my blue shirt. It was the attire for Office Depot, right? So she wrote me up for that. And then the next time she wrote me up, it was for my socks. You guys, I kid you not. This woman wrote me up for my socks. You can't see my socks. They're hiding behind my pants legs. But no, she wrote me up for my socks. I'm telling you, this woman was a Karen. So I guess you're supposed to wear black socks, but which nobody ever told me. Like, no, it was not that big of a deal. And she was like, yo, she's like, I swear if you come in here one more day with white socks on, I'm fire you right there on the spot. I'm like, why are you treating me like this? This is absolutely insane. So I made sure I wore black socks all the time. And every time I would fix an issue that she was having with me in regards to my attire, I swear this camera feel like it keeps turning. I'm trying to keep it over here. But every time I would fix the issue that she was having with me as far as my attire, she would always rub it in my face like, ha ha ha, you did what I said, ha. I told you to fix that and you fixed it, didn't you? Real quick, huh? Scared, huh? I was like, dang, why you gotta be like that? That is not cool at all. And then I remember one day, Okay, no, that's the end of the story. I got to get back to the third reason why she wrote me up. The third reason why she wrote me up was because of my shirt. You guys, I've been wearing the exact same uniform every single day for the entire time that I worked there. Nobody else tripped on her or tripped on me at all. Nobody. Why? I'm wearing black shoes like everyone else, black pants like everyone else, blue shirt like everyone else. What's the issue? What is the issue? Seriously, the issue had to be more than what I wore. It was something deeper, but I never found out what that was. Maybe she didn't like me. For what reason? I was the nicest, kindest person ever. I was too nice. But she wrote me up for my shirt. She was about to fire me on the spot. Next door to our store, we had a Ross and a Michael's. She was like, if you don't go over to Michael's right now, you got 10 minutes to go buy another shirt, come back, don't even come back in this building with that shirt on, come back with that other shirt on, or you're fired right now. I literally had to leave the spot that I was standing at in the store, talking to her, and run to the store. And she was like, hey, you better not walk, you better run. And before I left, I asked her, I was like, are you serious, 10 minutes? I'm like, that's one of the most poppin' Michaels. It's gonna take longer for me to find the shirt and get in line than for me to, I was like, it's not possible, 10 minutes is not possible. She was like, time's ticking. I ran, and she was like, you better run. I was running out of there to go get that shirt. I made it back right on time. I, boom, had to stand right in front of her, and she just sat there and laughed in my face. Ha ha ha, yeah, you saw I had you running. I had you running to go get that shirt. You better did what I said. I was like, oh my God, this woman got some serious issues. Now, obviously by this point, the whole dynamic of just working underneath this woman is just beyond, it's just so stressful, and everyone felt it. No one there liked her. No one had any respect for her or none of that. Whew. All right. Excuse me. But there's a bright side to this story, and I'll get to that. So make sure you stay tuned. Keep watching. We're not done with this. Somebody got her fired. Somebody got her fired. Somebody close to me did that. So make sure you don't click on this video yet. But now for the fourth write-up. Now, really there's three, but the fourth one means you're fired. So I remember the day so vividly. I was in there working with this one of my favorite coworkers. Her name was Z. We was up there. She was a cashier. And the registers had got super dusty. The registers had got super dusty underneath the bottom of the register. So Karen came down. I wish I could remember her actual name. We're just gonna call her Karen because she's 100% a Karen. Karen came down from the office. She was like just inspecting the areas and stuff, really inspecting wherever I was. I'm on my third strike. She's looking for a reason to get rid of me. She was literally looking for a reason to get rid of me. So, and she knew that she was under my skin, even though I was doing what Chester said, putting my head down, yes ma'am, to everything all the managers say. She knew that she was under my skin. So it was a slow day. I remember it was a really slow day. It was in the middle of the week, probably like a Wednesday or something. But at the particular time, it was actually catching some traction in the store. So I was up there, I was kind of manning the floor because we didn't have that many employees working that day. I think there was probably like 3 people on the floor. It was me, Z, and then one of the guys over at the print shop, the print and shipping shop. And I had to man the floor, make sure the customer's all right, and I had to go up to the register whenever I was needed up there as well. So she came up there, she saw that the registers were super dusty, and she was like, hey, can you clean underneath these registers? She was like, it's a ton of dust all over the place. Can you clean underneath there? I was like, yeah, sure, I got it. Let me finish up with this customer, then I'll get right on there. And she would go to her office and watch me on the cameras the entire time. I knew that's what she was doing. She didn't have nothing else going on back there. She was just watching me on the cameras. And she would see that I was with the customer, and then she would be like, hey, are you done with those registers yet? And I would have to walk you her, hey, I just got finished with the customer. I'm about to get on them right now. So I would get down there, get on the floor, cleaning up, got Windex, got paper towels. I'm cleaning up, trying to wipe up underneath the bottom of the register. And every time I would go down, a customer would come to my register. So I would have to jump up, check out the customer, attend to the customer, and then get right back down there. Boom. As soon as I get down there, somebody's calling me to come out there to the floor and assist the customer. And she's watching. She's watching this from her cameras. I had that feeling. I knew, I could tell that she was just watching the entire thing, because every time she was to call me on the intercom or on the little walkies, it was always around the time where I had got finished with the customer. So I would finish up with a customer. She would call me back, hey, you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I couldn't do it. I was with a customer. And then it got to the point where I was able to wipe down a little bit on both the registers, but it wasn't to her liking. It was still kind of dusty, but it wasn't to her. It was better than it looked originally, but it wasn't to her liking. And I tried to explain to her, I'm like, hey, I kept having customers. She's like, the store's dead right now. I'm like, look, during that time, it wasn't dead. I was like, you can go look at the cameras, which I'm sure she was. You can go look at the cameras. I was manning the floor. I was helping customers. I was doing the best that I could. And she was like, you know what? Come back to my office. Come back to my office. So she called me back there to her office. I'm sitting there. She's talking to me. She's telling me all the things that she didn't like about my performance and this, that, and the fourth. And I'm just sitting there like this, completely still. And I had these two voices in the back of my head, man. I had these two voices in the back of my head. One was a friend of mine named Aurora, something she told me, and the other one was something that my mom told me. And I remember Aurora's information was better than my mom's, but I went with my mom's information. So basically what happened was she was mouthing off, just addressing all the stuff that she didn't like about me and my work ethic. And then I just kind of took it all in, and I had one response. And this one response ultimately got me fired, and it wasn't even that bad what I said. She just wanted me to say anything. Anything at all. All I had to say was anything for her to fire me. It was because she already made it up in her mind from the day that she met me that she didn't want me there anymore, which was mind-blowing because I was the best worker, literally the best worker in there. I was the most dependable person. And all I said to her was, I really don't care what you think. That was it. That was it. That was literally all I said. She was like, oh, really? So you don't care what I think? Okay, just wait till Chester gets here. Just wait. You can go back out there. Just wait till Chester get here. So I told you guys about Chester. Chester would come in every day. He would close the store down. So he would come there from noon to 8. He wasn't a morning person, so he would rather those be his hours. And he always wanted me to be there whenever he worked, whatever days that he worked, whatever hours he worked, he wanted me there because he knew I was the most dependable person that he can rely on. So he came in the store that day. As soon as he walked through the door, I mean, the moment he stepped foot in the door, she called him. Karen called him on the intercom or the walkie. I think it was the intercom because he hadn't walkied up yet. She called him on the intercom. She said, Chester, please see me in my office. He walked straight back to her office. This is how I'm telling you guys, she was watching the cameras the entire time that day. She walks back there to the office. I'm sitting there like I'm on the floor kind of nervous because I already know what's happening. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know she was gonna fire me, but I knew she was not happy and that they were gonna call me back there together. So I remember this junk so vividly. She calls me back to her office and has me sit down in front of her. Chester's kind of like propped up against the back part of her desk. She had like two desks, one in front, one in the back. He's propped up sitting on the corner of in her back desk, and he's not saying a word. He's just looking at me, but his facial expression looks like he was disappointed. Even though his eyes were locked on me, I can tell his disappointment was not with me. It was with her. I could tell the entire time. He was not mad or upset with me whatsoever. It was with her. So she's sitting there. She's trying to give me all these reasons. He didn't say a word. It was almost like she told him not to say anything. Like, she loved that she had this power over these men, you know what I'm saying, in the store. So she didn't say a word. She just sat there. I mean, he didn't say a word. She just sat there, looked at me, mouthed off this, that, and the fourth. She talked about all my write-ups. She talked about all the things that she didn't like about what I was doing. She said, you have the audacity to want to become part of the management, blah, 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 this, that, and the fourth. And then she was like, from this point on, you're terminated. You're terminated. And she escorted me to the break room where I can get my stuff, go to my locker, get all my stuff out of there. And she was just like the whole time, just like with this real nasty. I was kind of like chipper. I had a smile on my face. I was like, oh, you tripping. I'm like, this is serious. You're serious right now. This is hilarious to me. So I'm walking out the door, and one of my other coworkers, I can't remember what her name is, cool white chick. She was trying to come up to me and like make sure she still had my contact, because everybody was pretty fond of me there. Everybody really liked me there, except for Karen. And Karen would not let her say a word to me. She's like, don't talk to him. Don't say anything to him. Don't say a word to him. He no longer works here. Like, if I was like a horrible person, it was so messed up. And she walked me all the way to the door, escorted me out the store, man. It was, oh my God. It was, oh, I didn't even tell you guys. Like, back then I had long hair. I had cornrows in my hair, and she was always trying to get me to cut my hair. She was always trying to get me to cut my hair. Oh, you want to be part of management? You don't look the part. You don't look professional with those cornrows in your hair. You need to cut your hair. You should cut your hair. And that's like a big thing now. If y'all don't know, like, you telling the black person to cut their hair, you be seeing these kids at these sporting events in school, and the referees or whoever be making the kids cut their hair because they got these long nappy hair or whatever. Like, that's a big problem now. That's a big no-no. And it was back then too, but they didn't realize just how bad it was for them to be saying that. But yeah, so it was so messed up. Like, I remember coming back like 2 weeks later with my haircut. You know, I had like nice little cut low and all that stuff. Everybody, oh, you look nice, you look nice. I'm like, yeah, I did that. But it was still messed up for them to have asked that of me so frequently at that time, so that it could better my odds of getting in that position. It shouldn't have been about how I looked. It should have been about how I carried myself, how I presented myself, and how I handled my responsibilities. That was far more important than how my hair looked or the style that I chose to style it in. But yeah, that was pretty much the gist of it. But like I said, it's not over yet. So about a month, maybe 2 months later, this Karen was fired. So she didn't even get to work there a whole 3 or 4 months before she herself was fired. Now, how did she get fired? Well, there was a few things that happened. For one, she got a lot of complaints from customers sent in to corporate. A whole lot of complaints. A whole lot. I myself called and told them about the situation, and they thought it was absolutely ridiculous. They're like, yeah, we have the write-ups here. She wrote you up for your socks, your shoes, and your shirt. Wow, that's unnecessary. But ultimately, and I gotta thank my mom for this, my mom is the one that got her fired. My mom was a protector. So she was protecting her young cub, her baby. My mom had like 3 or 4 different phones at that time. I don't know why the heck she had so many dang on cell phones, but she would call in, and my mom was a master at changing her voice and disguising her voice. I was better at it when I was younger. I haven't really practiced it that much, but I used to could do it pretty well too. But my mother could change her voice and change her tone, the way she talks, everything, and do it so many different ways that she called into corporate and had her fired, because she would call and have all these complaints. And my mom actually did experience some of her Karenness when she walked into the store. Didn't even tell the woman that she was my son, because my mom at the time was looking to buy me a camcorder. She was looking to buy me. She knew I wanted a camera for doing YouTube stuff. This is, years and years ago. Doing skate videos and all that type of stuff. So she was looking to get me a camera and surprise me. But my mom had a negative experience dealing with this Karen. And the Karen didn't even know that she was my mother at that time too. So my mom called into corporate on all these different phones and told them all these different stories about the horrible experiences. Mind you, some of those stories were made up, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, there were still other experiences that other people had as well. Because even the top dog, she was going over people's head like crazy to get to the top person that had the power to get rid of this woman. So it got to the point where even they were like, hey, yeah, ma'am, we know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, we've had many phone calls in regards to this woman and complaints coming in like crazy. So yeah, best believe we're about to take further action. Just give us some time. So I remember I walked back up in there after a month or so of not working there no more. And this is when I had the head shaved too. And they were like, yeah, she don't work here no more. They came in and they fired her right on the spot. She's not allowed to work at any location in the whole wide world ever again. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that means I can get my job back, right? So they looked into it. They were trying so hard to get me my job back, but the new members of management, they didn't care two flips about me. Really, they really didn't care. So I was trying to get my job back and they wouldn't really look into it. I was trying for months and months, and then they finally sat down. They're like, okay, we see everybody else really loves you, so we're gonna try to see if we can get you back. But this Karen was known for, when she let people go, she put them in the it's like a clause where it's a non-rehire, like you can't be rehired. There's some people that can be fired and rehired, but you can put it in there to where they can't be rehired. And even though she was fired from the company for, you know, being horrible, it was still irreversible how she put me in there to not be hired back. So nothing could be done. I was fired. I couldn't be rehired, and yeah, that was it. That was it. That was the gist of the Karen story. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys with that. Hopefully I was able to piece it together in a way that it just made sense. I know this is a long video, but hey, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, y'all know what time it is. Like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. As always, you can find your boy on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff at Artofkickz. I'll catch you guys in the next one.